Nurse, I tried to dig something out of my ass with a BBQ skewer. Skewer got stuck. Ripped a hole in his intestines. He waited so long to come and he was septic. One statter visit and an ICU stay later, please don't call my mom. Doctors, what was the best excuse you've heard for someone having something stuck in their ass? What's up my bros, welcome to another story time from your favorite narrator, Andrew. You're going to love today's story. Since you're already here, can you do me a small favor? If you enjoy this video at any point, can you hit that like button? If you do, I'll reward you with an all-inclusive trip to Cabo. Anyways, no more distractions, let's start the stories. When I was a student working in a guy came in with an unraveled wire hanger stuck and hooked up there. He said he was trying to fish out the vibrator he lost. I stuck it up there on purpose, and now it's stuck. Please help. It was a perfectly honest and valid reason for have something stuck up your ass, and we helped. No further questions needed. Guy came in with a cordless phone up his ass, like one of the old school ones from 15 years ago. He said that when he was in the kitchen bending over opening the oven door, someone threw it through his open window, and it just went right up. Presented at in Sydney with carrot stuck in the arse. Doctor. What happened? Patient. I heard a noise in the garden. Went to investigate. Slipped and fell over. Carrot went up my bum. Doctor. Carrots grow upside down out your way, huh? Related? Guy puts a vibrator, one of the massive cordless wand types, way up there, like a mega seed, and it gets sucked into the sigmoid colon. When he gets to me in the I ask him how he was feeling. He answered, well doc, I'm way better since the batteries died. Made my night. So I actually once did fall naked in my bedroom, and my ass cheek smashed hard onto the end of a small dumbbell that was angles up at 45 degrees. I'm coming to realize after reading all of this that had it hit the bullseye, no one would have ducking believed me. A glass water bottle in his ass and he's desperately trying to find an excuse, not one would really ask at that point actually he finally said. I don't remember who put it there. Couldn't you just fell from some stairs or something? 20 years ago, an ex was an nurse. A guy came in with a magic mushroom air freshener stuck up in there. He was embarrassed and did not even attempt to explain it. She said that when the doctor got it out, he said funny. It doesn't smell pine fresh? And everybody laughed. I am kind of surprised that didn't lead to a lawsuit. Not quite the same, but I was in a lecture where someone asked a doctor the strangest foreign body he'd removed, and he said removing a whole carrot from a rectum was pretty memorable. Girl next to me piped up OMG, how did someone swallow a whole carrot? Oh you sweet summer child. Worked on ambulances, not a doctor. Mostly bottles or vegetables. The aubergine was the biggest, but potatoes and carrots seemed to be popular. Ketchup, mayo and glass cola bottles were common at one point. Also one butt plug and a toilet brush. The last two were honest and very distraught. Others all had naked gardening stories. There's an even worse question you haven't asked which is for things people have shoved up their urethras, only men in my experience. Not an excuse, but a medic told me that they have contests about what is the most unexpected thing they pulled out of butts. The winner was a guy that put an electric Christmas decoration, the ones you wrap around the tree. In her own words, the legend doesn't say whether he plugged it or not. I should have asked what the excuse was for that one. Not a doctor, but I don't know that I'll have a chance to share this again. Growing up there was an urban legend about a local bloke that had to have a butternut pumpkin, squash, removed from his arse. Fast forward 25 years and I'm reading the book written by my dad's liver specialist, and lo and behold it wasn't a legend. In fact an entire chapter was dedicated to gentlemen with foreign objects needing removal from arse and bladder. My sister is a surgical nurse and a guy came into the hospital with a pool noodle shoved up his ass. It was so deep that they had to cut open his abdomen, intestines and colon to cut the foam out of him. He said he fell on it while swimming nude. But when they cut him open it had a condom stretched over the end of it. When they confronted him he said, please don't tell me wife. Edit. Wow, thank you everyone for the upvotes and awards. This is my sister's favorite story to tell. She tells about all the things she's seen after she's had a few drinks, but this one is the best one. It always boils down to the person accidentally sat on it. The best my dad saw a former emergency doctor was a young guy who accidentally sat on a giant tub of Vaseline. Accidentally. I asked how doctors record that in their patient files, and the common way to do so is to say the patient claims to have sat on X object. Edit. My dad's thrilled that his story has touched so many of you. Guy told me he was constipated, so he stuck the broom handle up there to break up the poop. I almost believed him. Edit. It was half of a broom handle, cut off and wrapped in electrical tape. All the way inside his ass. I am a nurse, a male as well. Guy came to my hospital with a cue ball stuck in his rectum. Said him and his wife were having sex and this happened. Made no excuses and showed no shame. Doc was unable to remove it with forceps, and he had to get anesthesia to have a minor surgical procedure to get it out. My job was basically to just go through a pre-surgical checklist and send him on his way. When I'm done he shouts excitedly, "All right, let's get this ball rolling." I almost died laughing. It was near the end of my shift and I always wonder what happened to him. I'm sure he did fine and is back to having amazing kinky sex with his wife. I worked on a surgical ward for a while and we had a few strange items. I can't tell you what their excuse was because we saw them post-operatively. One guy stuck not one, not two, but 3 snooker balls up his bum. One guy stuck a clay pigeon up his bum. That one was pretty impressive. One guy, 92 tried to fish out a vibrator with a coat hanger. And my personal favorite, a guy stuck an old Nokia 3310 up his bum. They X-rayed him and took him to theater. They kept trying to fish it out, but he kept getting phone calls from his mum wondering where he was. Every time she rang, the phone would vibrate further up his bowel. Remember how back in the day you could get those crappy $2 ringtones where it wouldn't sing the lyrics, but it would buzz to the words and music? Guess what his ringtone was? Will Smith's Gettin' Jiggy With It. Thank you and good night. Jesus Christ, my moment has come. A friend of mine used to work in a dispatch call center for emergency services. In these call centers there needs to be a triage nurse on site to deal with life-threatening situations. So my mate tells me about this story she had, where a man came in with a garden gnome up his hoop. His story was that he went shopping and locked himself out the house, so needed to climb back in through the second floor window, fell back, and got entered by the gnome. I mean, the gnome was inside his pants, like there was no gnome-shaped hole in his pants, but whatever, let's call it a miracle. So anyway, they get this gnome out, fishing rod and all, patch him up and send him on his way. 3 hours later a different dude comes in with the same problem and the same story. After cutting through the bullcrap they determined the 2 blokes had been gnoming each other, realized they both needed doctors, arranged to go to different hospitals with this 200 IQ story, and one of them got mixed up. Still makes me laugh to this day. Not an ass, but a vagina. I was doing my clinical rotation in 3rd year. Did a cervical assessment on a 36W pregnant woman who thought she was in labor, painful cramping ++ discharge. I found 8 cloves of garlic. She thought she could avoid group B strep with it, she read it online. She thought they would dissolve. 1. You can't avoid GBS like this. 2. They turn to slime mush bulbs. They don't dissolve. She was not in labor, she was responding to an infection. A nasty one. She was admitted for fluids, object removal, meds, and monitoring of fetus for treatment overnight. I finished my 24H shift before the next OB wrapped up. Cramping stopped very soon after we got it all out. Last I saw her she was just feeling sad and dumb. I felt really awful for her, she was trying to do the right thing for her pregnancy. GBS gut bacteria found in 1/3 of adults at any time. Some WHO tries screen for its presence because in rare cases it does nasty things to baby if they get colonized at birth. I'm not that kinda doctor, but highly relevant story. My friend said she lost a butt plug up, well, her butt. That shouldn't be a big deal first, I don't know how it's possible, but she claimed it was a little one, and given how upset she was telling the story after, I believe she did lose it. I just don't understand it. She said a dude had her tied up like a ducking mummy using duct tape. I'm not exaggerating here, her words, and dude literally breaks character and says, "Do you remember if I put the butt plug in or took it out?" And long story short, they are both blitzed as duck, so have to call a friend to drive them to the hospital to get it out. Except, she's embarrassed as duck and doesn't wanna go. So dude shows up and the dom dude remembers, "Hey, aren't you a medical professional?" And guy is like, "Yeah," and they recruit a random dude to fist her ass and recover it. And he does. But dude turns out to be a homeopath and has no training, very little experience retrieving crap from asses. Anyhow, she said they then ended up just double teaming her, since why not? I asked the obvious question, so double simultaneous anal? And she told me not to be gross. Merry Friday night, you degenerates. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.